Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Media Matters by Anfield Index. There's only a few days until we play the Community Shield at Wembley. There's been tours of the Far East, there's been friendlies back at Anfield. People have been jetting here, there, and everywhere. And I'm not going to lie, it's taken a while to snare him and get him back on, but we do say konnichiwa again to Mr. Lewis Steele. Lewis, how are we, sir?
Yeah, I'm quite tired actually. I've only been back. I stayed out in Japan for a week, as I was just saying to you off air. So I'm quite jet lagged. I only got back on Tuesday night, Wednesday, early morning. So I'm a bit all over the place with the body clock at the moment. It's midday here, but it feels like it should be about tea time.
Interesting. Well, if you fall asleep, we'll probably just shout some random transfer targets name, like he's probably going to come up in the chat panel at any time, and we will go from there. But it did look pretty good on the photo. So I do actually want to ask a few questions about the Far East. I mean, come out quite well in some of those. I don't know how much touching up is gone, so to speak, but away in the Far East, a good time had.
Yeah, brilliant time. I feel like I've been away for months, honestly. The UK weather, I think, is actually probably quite nice today, but it feels cold considering what I'm used to over there. But yeah, brilliant time, brilliant people, great food, some good times with the other journalists as well, which I'll keep to myself. What happens on tour stays on tour and all that. But yeah, overall, very good trip. Enjoyed it.
Well, we'll see if that still rings true in a minute, because I've got a few questions on that coming your way. But I suppose Far East, we see the photos and the bits. Everyone looks Liverpool daft, don't they? As in the training sold out stadiums, like the autographs, players not able to move outside the hotel. It was just Liverpool crazy there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's mental. I've been on a few tours now, and you always forget just how passionate these fans are around the world. Like, they're on a completely different time zone, and they'll be waking up at stupid o'clock to watch Liverpool play on probably on some dodgy streams. So you have to say fair play to them, because I spoke to a few of them, and they share the same passion of all the fans back here. Obviously, they can't go to the games every week. If they did, it would probably cost them about 10 grand, 10 grand a week. So, but yeah, they love it. They're really passionate. They're really crazy about Liverpool, and it's nice to see really just how far the club stretches. It's really is not just a local thing. It's a worldwide. It's a worldwide club.
It is cool, and it is seeing those reactions and fresh faces that way is pretty special. And I know you said what goes on tour stays on tour, but I'm going to have a go. Even if you can't give us like the story around this photo, or there's three characters there who I can imagine had a wild night out, give us your best off the field story that you can give us.
Well, what I would say about that photo is I think that's the only night that we didn't have a few beers, because that was after the game, after the Yokohama game, which is about an hour 20 outside of Tokyo. So we didn't get back into Tokyo till about 1 a.m. But just to the right of this picture that you can't see, just over my left shoulder, there is a brilliant bar or club or whatever that we refer to as our local by the end of the trip. We were in there a lot. May or may not have done a bit of karaoke on the top floor, but I can't confirm nor deny those rumours or tell you any more information about it.
Wow. Can you imagine a Steele, Gorst, Pierce treble act? We will ask no more questions on that one. Fair enough. Sounds like a good time by all. And what I also liked, it was good to see your videos. Training was open, so we could see so much. I know you put comments and little snippets that. So I suppose I'm kind of asking you a bit of training and the games that were out there as well. Is there a player or players that almost impressed you the most or really stood out?
Yeah, it was interesting being at training, because obviously we don't see it over here. We only see the clips that the club put out. So actually being up close and personal, and sometimes with these open training sessions, it's just a bit of a mess around, or like a bit of a fitness running up and down sort of thing. But they're actually working on proper tactical things, and I got it in the ear a bit for putting videos out about the set piece routines. And I was like, well, if they're inviting me in, then that's my job to not, I'm not an agent for. I'm not like some super spy for Mikel Arteta or Pep Guardiola or whatever. But in terms of the question, I'd probably say Florian Wirtz was the one that stood out the most, just in terms of his ability, both on the training pitch and in the matches. But there's quite a few. Like he's gone today, but Darwin Núñez looked sharp in training. So I mean, you can read into that what you will. Cody Gakpo was finding the net well, and Frimpong as well, just so fast. But there's some, like, because there's 30 players on the pitch at once in training, it's hard to keep across them all at once. So I'm sure everyone had a good tour in terms of that. But the main thing is it was hard work because it was 37 degrees in Tokyo. Jeez. And I was genuinely like dripping with sweat just standing on the sidelines watching it. So I couldn't imagine what it would have been like, training for an hour and a half in that heat.
Yeah, don't fancy that at all. But I suppose they are professional footballers, and we're talking about athletes as well. You no doubt I was going to ask you about this kid because, I mean, he's been tearing it up pre-season, and even in your videos, he's been referenced a few times. It looks like maybe we're actually embarrassed a few first-team defenders on occasions. I mean, from what you've seen and what's being said around the club, are we talking about Rio Ngamoa as a potential superstar?
I think he's already a superstar. I think he sort of, the way he played in pre-season, the way he carried himself, and the way he scored those goals, and the way he dribbled in and out of players. He's already, if he was, I think the only thing that's maybe holding him back in terms of being recognised as a superstar is the fact that he is so young. If he was 22 and signed for 100 million quid from somewhere, everyone would be saying get him in the team every week. I think you do have to go careful with him because he is young. You don't want to wreck his body, so you don't want a situation where he is starting a lot. But he's definitely ready to. I think definitely ready for little cameos off the bench. He's a sort of player that if I was a right back for an opposition team, let's say I was the Bournemouth right back, I would be going to sleep the night before thinking I could get embarrassed tomorrow if this kid comes on because he's so good and he's quite grounded as well from what I hear off the pitch. His attitude is right, and he's bulked up quite a lot. When he first signed, he genuinely looked like a 12-year-old lad. Now he still looks like a kid, but he has bulked up a bit, and he's making it harder for opponents to push him off the ball and whatever else.
Yeah, he does look special. As to be fair, young Trey Naoni's looked good in this pre-season as well. I suppose we have to talk about it because it can always be sort of questions or negatives, concerns, however anyone wants to put it. Few injuries still, isn't there? I mean, we're expecting Van Dijk and Alisson back. I know they've been missing for illness and different reasons, but I was going to ask you about this. Another Connor Bradley injury. Joe Gomez flights home with a minor Achilles strain. It's that defensive area again. Any sort of updates around those two or concerns, would you say?
I think the concern about Bradley is that it's another injury on top of a few niggly ones last season. They're never sort of long-term injuries. They're all sort of, 3 or 4 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. But it is a worry because, Trent is obviously gone. So Bradley was going to have a more senior role this season, even though Frimpong's come in. And to start the season injured is not a good way to start. I've got a lot of worries about the centre-back department, whether Joe Gomez is fit all season or not, in terms of I think they're a man light in there. So it's been a very weird summer and transfer window in that it's been one of the best transfer windows I think the Prem has ever seen overall. But there are still a few holes in the squad that I think need addressing before the deadline in 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. So although there is time on Liverpool's hands, the clock is starting to tick a little bit, and I do think they are a couple of men light, which I'm sure we'll come on to in a minute.
Yeah, no doubts at all. And probably the last question, which I don't know if you would be expecting for, because we're talking pre-season, the friendlies and different bits. the new kit got its outing. And I think the night kit last season, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's the kit we won the league in, so it'll always stick in the memory that way. Adidas, this new kit, what are you reckoning?
I think it's really nice. I think it's the sort of kit that everyone should be buying. And we saw at the end of last season when Anfield was turned red, how good it looked. I think if I was in the cup rather than the press box, then yeah, definitely you should be wearing that kit because it is beautiful. And the only reservation I have is when you can't, like in that picture there with Harvey, it does look a bit Man United-y. That's the only reservation I'd have. But it is very nice. I like it a lot. And the other two kits are nice as well. Maybe we'll see one of them at Wembley on Sunday.
Yeah, suspicion it'll be the white one, the second kit, the away kit, whatever I'm going to call it, at Wembley. Fingers crossed. So, yeah, plenty going on this summer. And people in the chat, I can see all the comments around Isaac, Barcola, all those things. I promised I'm going to put it all to Lewis now.